Hello, hello, happy Sunday. I'm Julie Davison. Welcome to Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie Part 1. This is the first week that Mom and I are completely filming separately, and it's like a whole new thing. I don't know what to do, but I'm so excited that you're here. Last week, we started splitting our videos into two different videos. Part 1 on my channel with my project, and Part 2 on Mom's channel on YouTube with her project. And so I hope that you were able to find everything okay last week. I did hear from some of you that you had a hard time. And so here's a little tip. At the very end of the video, there will be a screen that pops up. We call it an end screen on YouTube. And in that end screen, I've linked to Mom's video for this week. So at the end of this video, click right in the middle of the screen, and that's going to link you to Mom's video where we will start with her project at 12:30 p.m. Central Time every Sunday. So hopefully you'll be able to find it okay, but I'm so glad that you're here joining me for Part 1, and I hope that you are enjoying our Sunday stamping videos. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you subscribe to both my channel and Mom's so that you don't miss out on our future videos. And of course, as always, give us thumbs up when you enjoy the project ideas that we share. It's very helpful for our channels. All right, let's flip it over to the desktop, and we're going to get started with my project. Okay, this week we are using a very beautiful suite. It is called Winter Meadow. It's on page 36 and 37 of the September through December 2023 Stampin' Up! Mini Catalog. And Mom's going to go into greater detail and show you all the beautiful designer paper and the ribbon and the stamp set and dies and everything. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I just wanted to show you where you can find this. We're in the catalog on page 36, 37, and 38, and I'm so excited about this gorgeous product. Now, just recently, Stampin' Up! Has released the Last Chance list, and so this suite is kind of interesting because the stamp set and the dies are both retiring, so if you like those, you want to make sure to get them right away, but the gems and the ribbon are going to carry over, as well as the designer paper. And I don't know what that means. I'm not sure if we're going to see this designer paper in next year's fall catalog or if we're going to see this in the annual catalog. That would be very unusual, and I don't think Stampin' Up! Has ever carried over regular designer paper into the annual catalog, but it is on the carryover list. Unfortunately, the Snowflake Magic designer paper, our specialty paper, is already sold out, so we aren't going to even show that to you this week. We've got lots of ideas to share with you that don't use that paper, so I think you'll be very inspired. I'll have the links to the Last Chance list and the carryover list, as well as the Last Chance deals in the video description, so you can check that out in between videos or after you're done with Sunday stamping. So let's jump right into my project today. I'm really excited about this Fun Fold card. And this is when I think I did it last year, and I just wanted to do something extra special for the Winter Meadow. So I have got some pieces here. First of all, it's going to be a little trifold, a little accordion card, and so my cardstock is 4 1/4 by 9 3/4. So this is a little bit less than half a sheet of cardstock the long way, and we're going to score it 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. And those measurements will be in the video description for you. Also, for our card base, we have another piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches with a piece of designer paper that's 4 by 5 1/4 to go on top of that. For our trifold, we're going to have 3 pieces that are 3 by 4 inches. And so the designer paper is going to go in the middle. I have a piece of basic white cardstock for the bottom. And check this out. I used that Snowfall Sky. What is the name of this embossing folder? I'm so excited that it's going to carry over. Snowflake Sky. And Mom, I know when she did her video, she thought it was on the Last Chance list, but it is not. It actually does carry over. And so I embossed it here on vellum. And doesn't that look gorgeous? I love how it makes the embossed image sort of white, and you just get this beautiful sort of like, I don't know, faded, background. So that's going to be really fun to go against the Lost Lagoon cardstock. Okay, so that's all the measurements that we have, but we need to do some focal images and some sentiments. So I'm going to bust out these stamps here with the trees. And there's sort of like has a built-in watercolor background, which I think is just beautiful. So we're going to be stamping that in Lost Lagoon. This is kind of a bit of a monochromatic card. And then we have some sentiments. So I'm going to start with the stamping. And then we'll put everything together. So first thing, we're going to stamp this larger image here, and this is one of the distinctive stamps, and so sometimes if you have a really juicy ink pad, you can lose some of the detail in there. So if you have a really juicy ink pad, I recommend just using like a plastic spoon or something to kind of move some of the ink over so it's not so juicy. And then when you stamp, you don't need a lot of pressure, and so you'll get a nice clean image if you kind of follow those tips. So that's going to be on a scrap piece that we're going to die cut, and then on the piece for the inside of the card, we're going to stamp the other trees down there in the corner. And the inside sentiment says, "May this season of sparkle bring joy and delight." And so this is going to go down here on the bottom, on the inside of the card. And for the front of the card, we're going to do some embossing. So we are going to use Versamark ink for that with our Winter Wishes. And I've picked out some white embossing powder, which I think goes really beautifully with this designer paper. So I'm going to get out our Embossing Additions Toolkit. And this includes the powder pal tray, the tweezers, a brush, and an embossing buddy. And these are all really great tools to have if you're embossing a lot, or if you're new to embossing. It's kind of a nice set to start with. So I'm going to use the embossing buddy first, and I kind of spread this on the cardstock to take away any of the oil from my fingerprints or any other moisture that might be on the cardstock, because I want my embossing powder to stick only to the ink. So I'm using the Versamark ink, which is kind of a clear watermark ink, and I'm going to stamp that onto the Lagoon Cardstock, and then use some of the white embossing powder. And I should be in my powder pal for this. Move over here. We're going to do the white embossing powder. And then you're just going to cover the image. You don't need a whole lot. And then you can tap it off. And if you have some stray marks like this is where the paintbrush comes in, because you can just kind of wipe that off. And then when we're all done, we can take the powder pal and we can funnel it back into the jar and keep using it over and over again for future projects. So I don't emboss a lot, and my embossing powders are so old because I just keep using the same jar. So it'll last you quite a long time. Actually, our embossing powders now, I believe, come in packages of 3. I think there's a basics, which has white and black and clear, and then the metallics has gold, copper, and silver. So I should go ahead and get some, because you can see my white is a little bit contaminated. It's got a few little granules of other things in there, cardstock dust and whatnot, but it still works just fine. All right, so we're going to put this aside. We're going to get out our heat tool, and the heat tool has 2 settings. And I usually just go on the number 2 setting. Now, if you had something that was really delicate, maybe like vellum or something, perhaps you would just want to start on the 1 setting, but 2 is what I usually use for most embossing jobs. The tweezers are really great if you don't want to burn your fingers, so you can hold your cardstock. And so I'm going to do that and then emboss. Now with the heat tool, you want to just keep heating until the powder is melted. And typically you'll see the powder get darker, or with the metallic powders, you'll see it get shiny. So I'm just going to move the heat over the embossing powder, and you can kind of see it gets darker and shiny. And as soon as all of it is looking that dark and shiny and wet, then you're done. You don't need to wait for it to bubble or anything like that. You just want it all to be melted. And so next we're going to take a punch, and we're going to punch this out. I just put this punch away. I forgot I was going to use it. I'm using the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to just slip it in there and punch that out. So now I've got that beautiful white on the dark cardstock. I love the way that looks, especially with this monochromatic card, the designer paper. So it's coming together really nicely. Our next thing is going to be to die cut our image. And this stamp set, Magical Meadow, has some coordinating dies. Mom's going to show you all the detail of the dies, but we've got some that die cut the stamped images, and then some that are detailed. And so I'm going to take this one here to die cut our image. And we're gonna get out Lucy. Lucy is my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and she is just perfect for small jobs like this one. So I'm going to get Lucy out and fold the edges down. And then I have my platform and 2 cutting pads. So I'm gonna lay this down onto the platform. And I like to use like a sticky note or something to hold my die in place so it doesn't shift. You can use washi tape or something like that if you'd like, or just go with it and put enough pressure on it so that it's not shifting. I don't know why lately I've noticed mine have been shifting, and so the sticky note is just perfect for holding it in place. I'm gonna add the other cutting plate on top and go ahead and send that through. Now, if you're having some problems with your mini die cutting machine and the plate's just not wanting to go through, I would suggest trying to enter at a slight angle here so that it's catching one corner instead of trying to catch the whole edge. That seems to work a lot. The other thing is that you can try switching out the number 1 base plate for the number 3. Oftentimes that works, and it's just a little bit different as far as the thickness, but sometimes the machines vary a little bit, and so that little difference in the thickness can make the difference and make it so much easier to send your die through. All right, there is our die cut image right around that fun stamp shape, and I'm gonna add this over here so that I don't I don't lose my die, and I'm gonna stick it in here. I'm always afraid I'm gonna misplace my dies. I just noticed it fell off, but that's okay. All right, so now we get to put our card together and add some embellishments. I'm gonna use my Stampin' Seal adhesive to add the background designer paper to the card base. And this is just a single sheet, as I said, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's not going to have a regular open like normal, because that is going to be what this accordion part is. So let's go ahead and glue down these layers. Oh, I just realized I forgot to cut one more piece of designer paper for the front. And so I am going to get out my designer paper pack and show you that. Now with the vellum, you can see the adhesive through the vellum. And so I'm gonna add some just across toward the bottom, and we're gonna cover that up with a little strip of designer paper so that you can't see that adhesive. Before we do that, let's go ahead and fold and use our bone folder to get nice crisp lines here. And that's going to help it to lay down a little bit better. Now, I don't have any ribbon or built-in thing that's going to keep the card, closed. I think it'll just stay closed okay on its own. But if you wanted to, you could wrap around a piece of ribbon or something that you could untie to undo the card. But I think it'll be okay. So we've got these images for the front, and we just need that one little piece of designer paper. So let me get out my paper pack and find which one it is. I wanted to add a strip of this darker one here. So this has got a little bit of pretty peacock in it, and it also has some of that gorgeous Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to cut a piece of this. Let's get our paper trimmer out. And this piece is going to be 1 inch by 5 1/2 inches. Let me see, I think this is, not quite 5 1/2. All right, I'll do 1 inch here, and then I'm going to turn it and cut it at 5 1/2. And this is going to go across the front of our card here and just kind of anchor those elements down. I think it'll be just perfect to offset that. So let's bring this back in here. Also, because we have so much bulk going on with this little trifold, I want to use some tear and tape to adhere the accordion card onto the card base. So I'm going to use a few pieces of tear and tape across the card here. And then center this piece in the middle of the card. That looks right. Got a good rub down. Okay, next we're going to add this designer paper, and that's going to go across the bottom center. And I did cut it so that it goes all the way across the cardstock to both ends. You want to make sure that you're not having any adhesive on the very, very end that sticks out. And if you don't like it sticking out, you can always cut that a little bit smaller to go just across the mini card on top, but I kind of like that it extends out and goes over the edge a little bit. We're going to add these pieces now with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So let's find where I put those. And I'm going to do 3 on the larger one and 2 on the circle. And so we're going to layer here. Oh my gosh, I just love these colors together. It is so soft and pretty. And even though I'm not ready for snow, oh, we might be getting some overnight, just a little taste. So leave a comment and let me know, what is the temperature where you at? Have you had any snow yet? It is late November. And so I know there are some places that get snow early and that have had blizzards already. I have a friend who lives in Alaska, and oh yeah, they've had lots of snow already. I'm going to use the ribbon from this suite. It is called Silver and White, and it's got this gorgeous sheer nature to it. And I'm just going to tie a little bow. So I'm just going to do my bunny ears and fold them over. Whoops, let's try that again. Bunny ears and fold them over and pull it through. Whenever I'm just tying for myself, I just tie right on the ribbon roll and then I cut it off, and I feel like it saves ribbon. Otherwise, I end up just cutting off too much to start with, and I end up wasting. So that helps me to tie right from the roll. And then I can trim that down. So this is going to go over here on the card, and I'm going to use a glue dot to stick that on. And oh my gosh, so gorgeous. One last thing to finish off our card. Of course, we need some bling. I'm using the Faceted Gem Trio Pack, and this one is part of the suite, and it's going to carry over. We've got 3 different color options here. One's kind of a brighter blue, one's a light grayish blue, and then the white or silver in the middle. And I didn't even realize these because most of it was covered, so I think I'm going to use that one today. And it has a built-in glue dot, so I'm just going to add one over here just to kind of bling out and finish off that card. There's already a lot going on with the vellum and the ribbon and the embossing and images, so I think we are good just like that. So here is our finished card. And we have this accordion hour. You can see more of that gorgeous designer paper and then the sentiment on the inside. Oh my gosh, this suite is so amazing. Before I turn the camera around and show off my card again, I want to show you some samples created using this suite. So here are some more. Some of them I've made and some of them are swaps from other demonstrators. This first one is by me. I used blueberry bushel, and then I embossed the snowflake sky, or the snowfall sky, whatever it's called, on a piece of designer paper, and used some of the snowflake embellishments that are part of the online exclusive offering. I think they're called Self-Adhesive Snowflake Assortment. It comes with white and gold and copper. They're so gorgeous. My favorite. I've already used an entire package, and I've got another one on order. Here's another card that I created. I've got garden green for the base, and then some designer paper pieces. I'll use the ribbon and some embellishments. I really struggled with where to put the embellishments, but I think it turned out okay. Here's another one that I created. I used the glitter organdy ribbon on this one. This is another online exclusive product, and then some of those snowflakes that kind of blend in. Smoky slate for the base and basic gray for the background and the words. All right, this is a swap. This one's from Kathy Miller. I'm going to open this up and show you though, because it's kind of one of those peek through cards. So she cut the center and then turned it and used it to bridge the top and the bottom pieces. I love that she incorporated some of the die cuts and of course the ribbon and gems as well. The colder weather brings us together. Such a fun card. The last one is from Leanne Greff, and she created this fun diagonal fold card, and I will link up a video tutorial for this one. I think I shared this when Mom and I did the Bright and Beautiful Suite for Sunday stamping. So if you haven't seen it, it's such an easy fold, really fun, and you get 2 cards from 1 sheet of cardstock. So she's got some designer paper, the exposed brick embossing folder, and some die cuts under the sentiment. All right, let's flip that camera around and I'll show you my project one more time before we head over to Mom's. Here is my accordion fold card with the Winter Meadow Suite Magical Meadow Bundle. I hope that you like this card idea and that you'll give it a try at home. All the measurements are in the video description, so you can use whatever designer paper and stamp sets you have to recreate this fun fold. Well, now it's time to go on to part 2 of Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie. We're going to head over to Mom's channel at Susan LaCroix Stamping with Susan and check out what she has created with the Winter Meadow Suite. Click on the box in the middle of the screen to go right to the next video. Part 2 of Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie will premiere at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I can't wait to see what Mom has created for us this week. I will see you over there. And until next time, happy stamping. Thanks for watching. Bye.